Okay, hi everyone. I'm hoping to goodness everyone can hear us. Those in the chat, let me know if you can or can't. I hit all the right buttons, so I thought this was going to be at 3 p.m. Eastern, not 1. Well, Kilroy, it is 3 p.m. It's 3:20 Eastern. 3 So Kilroy, there you go. Gotcha. So yeah, if you're going to give us that, I'm going to blame all of it on Eliza
It's
for.
totally my fault.
Yeah, it is 100% their fault.
Yeah.
We'd have been on 60 seconds sooner, but Eliza and Up were chatting about not letting animals or children die. Seemed like an important conversation, so I didn't want to interrupt it. For those of you that are joining us, welcome. Uh, I'm Jonathan. Is it this one? No, it's that way. That's Eliza. We are the hosts here at Gamers and Goths, and mobile accidentally hit send early. That's all right, man. It's okay. So I have been a fan of CthulhuTech for a long time. CthulhuTech was on a local game store that you used to work at, Eliza, back when it was at its old location many years ago. And the book just kept calling to me, and I didn't buy it. Finally bought it. Thought it was really neat. I actually, and I'm going to give Wildfire some points here. I actually illegally downloaded the PDF, and I loved their little section that said, "Hey, if you illegally downloaded this PDF, let's talk. If you really like it, why don't you just buy it?" And I was like, "Fair, fair. I'm glad you guys recognize I'm not made of money, and you're like, hey, you got this illegally, but if you like it, maybe buy our stuff." So I did. Played the game for probably a solid year with a group, and it's always been sitting there. And the second edition has been creeping around wanting to be published for a long time, and now it is near the end of its Kickstarter. I think it stops on the 25th, something around there. Very soon you should pledge. It's going to be produced, it's going to be made in a paperback or hardback, so it's good to go. In second edition, the designers decided to focus on Tagers, where the first edition kind of had lots of stuff. So I'm super excited, and I'm sitting here. I got to reload something. I'm like, oh, it seems like, okay, cool. People can see us. Good. Sorry, I got to hit buttons,
Yay.
people. Yeah, I was like, oh, God, they can't see us. So, um, being a big fan, and just through various other people have met the creators, they were nice enough to send us a review copy. So Eliza and I have spent the last couple of days kind of chatting about it.
Yes.
Let's see here. Steven says, I remember when I stumbled on the first alpha PDF of second edition on Drive-Thru RPG. That was like a decade ago. Yeah, it was like, I will admit, it was kind of one of those things like, is it going to get published any day? Sure. And then if you've been following their Discord for the last couple of years, they're like, oh, it's coming. It's coming. We're like, sure, bro. Sure, it's coming. It's going to be here. It's going to be here sometime soon. But it's here. I know it. We have the review copy. So what Eliza and I thought would be really neat, so we talked about it. We're like, hey, let's go through the review copy, at least a specific section. We're going to go over the Tager section, talk about some stuff we see. If you guys got try that again. If you guys have questions, go ahead, drop them in there. We are not allowed to show you everything, but we're allowed to give you some glances, maybe zoom in on some stuff. So if you're maybe like, "Ooh, what's that, Jonathan? Can you zoom in?" I might be able to do that for you here.
No.
I also have
We
a little
can't give you the main course, but we can give you a moosh boosh.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice
Yeah.
taster.
Yeah. So if you guys got something you want to look at, let us know. If you're watching this later on YouTube, Twitch, whatever, go ahead, maybe drop into their Discord, ask some questions. Other Philip, he's going to be joining us the last like 10-15 minutes of the stream to answer our questions or potentially your questions. So even if it's outside of Tagers, if you just want to know something, if he can answer it, he's going to go ahead and do that. But unless we have I guess, Eliza, we should do Welcome to Gamers and Goth. This is the place to be for everything that's not
D&D, I'm Eliza.
And I'm Jonathan. We got to do our thing. If you're liking this here, please like, subscribe, follow. We do reviews, actual plays, more recently, a ton of shorts, just because we both work a lot and try to do this crazy thing on YouTube. So give us a like, follow, anything like
Yes, we
that.
are Gamers and Goths on every single one of our socials, including Instagram. YouTube and Instagram are kind of where we're the most active right now. It's apart from Discord. Discord, though, is where it's the easiest way to get a hold of us. If you want to participate in polls in regards to what we talk about next,
Yeah.
that's the place you would want to go. But for more fun slice of life things and goofy stuff, head over to Instagram and definitely follow our YouTube shorts. We've been enjoying making a lot of that short form content.
Let's see here. Send let's go ahead and copy. We'll go ahead and drop it in there if you guys want to
Mm-hmm.
jump in. It says hidden, use the copy button. No, okay. I clicked the copy button, computer. Come on. Come on. I'm sitting here like, oh, we should do that. And now I'm hitting all the buttons. If not, okay. Copy. Let's try it again. Because it was like, okay. All right. Apparently it does not like this. Let's see here. Edit invite link. I don't know. All right, we'll drop it in there later. If not, here. Yeah, there you go. And the Wildfile Discourse in there. I wish I could find mine. You know what? If someone's there, wants to drop it in while I'm running this whole thing, let's go ahead and do that. But people aren't here to listen to us talk about that. We are going to go ahead and take a look at the book. So I'm going to transition us over so that we can see our review copy. Okay? Really want to emphasize this is the review copy, not the final, not what you're going to see. Some of the art is just placeholder. You'll see as I scroll through, you might see some missing art. It's
Mm-hmm.
obviously going to be there. So, and I'm looking up and realize I just got someone's hitting something here. Oh, okay. So someone's sending me a private message right now. Go ahead. Um, Person who's contacting me right now, go ahead, leave that message. I'll take a look at it as well. Apparently, someone says, "Hey, would you like to have more indie developers on the channel?" The answer is yes. But the one indie developer we're focusing on right now in this second, and God, I gotta find the. There we are. Here we go. I'm sorry, I can't see it. Here we are. We are looking at the review copy to help you out, Eliza, because you're not looking directly at my screen. Oh, you might be able to see it. We are looking at the Echo. I'm going to scroll up, take a look. Here's the
I can
Echo.
see it.
All right, nice. Murder Flipper. That's what I like to call it. This is Murder Flipper. Eliza, you haven't played CthulhuTech, have you?
No, I have not had the chance, but that's not my fault. I didn't get into tabletop RPGs until later. So I'm excited because this is very new to me, but I do love all things Cthulhu.
Mm-hmm.
And what is that one really awful 80s show we just watched the other day?
Oh my god. We watched the first movie for Guyver, and then we went and watched the actual anime. Needless to say, hands down, anime's better. But yeah, Guyver is one of the influences for this. So
Yeah, so I was intrigued because I was like, it's got to be better now than it was in the 80s for sure.
all right, well, let's take a look here. It says, so if you're attracted to the ocean's undersea creatures, you may enjoy playing the Echo. In your Tager form, you can swim, breathe underwater, generate electrical shocks, attack like a massive shark. In your immortal form, your symbiote may gift you the ability to talk to ocean creatures, breathe underwater, and cause water to come rushing to you. So, murderous Aquaman. I don't.
But
Did
I
you
think
have a
this
shark
one is
phase?
great.
Did you have a shark phase as a child?
I think everybody
I,
either had an Egyptology or a shark face. You had one or the other. I had both.
this is an awesome shark phase here. Check this out. So if you can see, as I got to click between, yeah, you guys can probably see a little bit. Let me zoom in real quick. Let's see, I'm at 140. Let's go down to 200%. Boom. Get a little closer. I'm gonna even get even closer. Here's your chance. Let's go 400%. Boom. I like this right here. Echo candidates. This kind of talks about who could be, who would it just, so when you undergo the rite, like your body, your soul calls to the Tagers from beyond time and space. So this is like an example here. The personal trader who needs to be in peak condition.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Let's see here. Character design recommendations. I like this. And I think any book that kind of gives you a hint of how to build your character is really nice. Um,
Yes.
Athletics may help you navigate more complex environment. The medicine skill may help you understand yourself and others better. Let's
See,
keep.
what I want is I would love a Baywatch style game, but with Tagers. We're all lifeguards on the ocean, and then suddenly The Rock becomes that.
I can gotcha. Yes, yes.
Right?
That
You
you know
see
what
it,
though,
right?
I could honestly see the thing is about CthulhuTech. It's kind of like it's in a way, at least when you look at the art, it is a highly polished version of cyberpunk. As in, there's a little bit less of the dystopia in regards to the arcologies, which are the cities and stuff like that. So I could absolutely see a Baywatch kind of oh no, Jaws right there.
Jaws.
Jaws, yeah, exactly here.
I just want to watch Dwayne the Rock Johnson running
Baywatch.
on the beach. Baywatch turn
Baywatch.
into
We'll look at the
that.
Fey one. Yeah, exactly, yeah. So we're gonna jump through here, guys. We got about an hour because Eliza and I have this. We have to pay this terrible thing called a mortgage. So we do have to jump off here. And worst case, if you guys really like this, just leave a message either in our Discord or in CthulhuTech's Discord. Like, we need to see more hints, more previews, things like that.
My last thing I want to say about the Echo is, of all of the Tagers, of course I want all of them as plushies, but if we had to pick one, I feel like he would be the most dynamic.
I feel like, and the reason why I would say this, if we're going, sorry, stop. Sorry, I'm trying to move it so I can scroll over and not have it like eat up my whole screen. You're right. This guy here,
it's very plushable,
it's the nose.
Adaptive, right?
It's the nose. It could nuzzle you.
Very,
It could nuzzle you. That being said,
big shoulders, very snuggleable.
I like you see the eyes up there? See the eyes? It's got like two eyes on one side. That might be a third eye right there.
And you could like give a fake little tongue and little plushy teeth. Nom nom nom. It's very nice.
There you go. All right, moving on. Trying to be serious gamers here.
Yes.
So one section I really like, guys, that's in here. We talk about, there's the symbiote. Every single one, it's got like the symbiote, and it also has the Eldritch Society. They might have defense instincts. I forget. We're going to see it together. So good kind of way to check out, like, what are we looking for? So the Echo symbiote is one of the many one of the many in the endless depths in which it lives. Through patience and cooperation, they have grown to become the most powerful beings in their reality, unswayed by obstacles that accompany their eons-old quest. They're confident in their place without arrogance. And we're talking about that shark metaphor. Sharks have not changed in like thousands of years, so totally connected there. Let's go down to the...
It also says it doesn't have a panic response, which I think is very interesting, because so much about Cthulhu stuff in general is all about your response to things. How well do you handle it? This is kind of like The Rock. Like I said, it's The Rock.
I'm not sure if anyone can see this over here. I gotta scroll over here. I love this here. There are no Echo vegetarians. Sorry, Eliza. No vegan. No vegan there for you. You got to chew on the monsters here. I do like the Eldritch Society.
Technically, if you eat people, you are vegan. It's only animal products.
It's funny. It's funny that you mention that here. So in the Eldritch Society section, it talks about like how are they useful to the Eldritch Society. Last sentence here, though many find it distasteful, there are those echoes who use their insatiable hunger to assist in rapid body disposal. Nom 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 nom.
All I heard is great for getting rid of X's.
Great for getting rid of X.
It's a side hustle.
Civ Dev 34 says, "When are we getting Echo plushies?" It's Echo plushies when. You know what? I'm sure if we can get this thing to $1 million, people can do that. I'm quite certain we could probably get some limited edition. I'm speaking for Op here, but if we can somehow, 20 times their current bit, the current thing, I'm sure it would happen. So there you go. I've made a promise. I don't work for
money, so we can get plushies.
No, Mike. Another section I love here is headspace. This is, to be honest, this is why and we do actual plays here, and I've done actual plays in the past.
Mhm.
What I think is always so interesting, Eliza, is when we do actual plays, we try, especially when we're not doing short shots, we try to like make them character dramas. I like the idea this
Yes.
extra dimensional creature exists with you, and how does it change you? And if you're
Mhm.
wondering that, they have a list here of things that you can do here. So let's look at this. You have a never ending hunger, which you make a practical part of your life. So I like this idea. Oh my God, have you ever, Hannibal, the TV show Hannibal, where he brings his food with him because, he's got, like,
Yes.
oh my goodness, like, I almost have this, like, echo weightlifter. Speaking of The Rock, you know what I mean? Like, I've got
I
to
know.
always
I'm
have my
like, so the
protein. Got
Echo
to always
is
have my
the
protein.
Rock, Hannibal, and a
Gotcha.
shark.
Let's jump ahead here because I think that there's some flavor text. Let's jump up here. So as you build your character, we've got building your echo. These are the three different kinds: streamlined, blended, dynamic. So you can essentially streamlined is your good old fashioned, just you got, here's your sheet, move on. Blended, you get to kind of pick, and dynamic is you customization here.
Mhm.
So there's some attributes increases, and I don't know a ton about the N-Star, but it's kind of like when you get enough power. But check this out. These are your special abilities. All right. So you have bioluminescence and watercolor. Bioluminescence capable of glowing. So there you go. You light up, and then watercolor, your Aquaman power. But this, like, it doesn't have to literally the larger area you wish to flood, the longer it takes to fill, and something must be present to contain the water, such as walls. Yeah, okay.
Mhm.
So you can't just like flood the city, which
No,
makes
but
sense.
you could maybe go into an aquarium and, mess.
Yeah.
Great setting, everyone. Aquariums at night, they're spooky.
So symbiote bleed. Here's another thing that's new too. The more you merge with your symbiote, the more it affects who you are. Without
Mhm.
immediately appearing to be magical, bleeds are supernatural abilities that you can use in your mortal form. So it starts with the Undine bleed, which is, let's take a look at that real quick. I feel like we could do a whole episode of just like showing this here. When you
Mhm.
wish, you can change your body to one that's better suited for swimming. So you get gills. All right, cool, cool. I want to read. There was one I was just looking at here. I want to read Electrified. Let me scroll over here. Not sure if everybody can see it.
You generate bioelectrical charges at will, discharged by physical contact, giving you a damage for physical attack. This will also disrupt any or and slash, I guess it's and slash or
Mhm.
fry any electronics that you touch up to about the size of a desktop PC. I have to give out a shout out to CthulhuTech. I have loved the very specific things when it comes to electronics, and we'll touch
And
on some
sizes,
others,
yeah.
but like
When
I
we
love
get to the
how they're
Phantom,
like up to a desktop PC, and it's just one of those little flavor things that has made me giggle, and I love it so much.
I'm kind of curious in this techno future though. Like, what's a desktop PC? Because that's probably like a laptop. Like, I mean, do they
That's
still? I don't know. Now are we talking? Because if we were talking in the '90s, that's a huge honker. We're talking now. I say
right.
jokingly, my desktop's pretty decent. All right,
Yeah.
let's move
Ah.
on here. Supernatural senses. They have echolocation, inland and
Super
water.
cool.
Yep, yep. Mobility, obviously, they can swim.
Night
Scroll.
vision.
So sustain, number 6 here, guys. Like, that is your armor and your regeneration. So as you look through the book and look at each of these tagers, they'll talk about that. Sustain is your ability to sustain damage.
Mhm.
All right, what do we got here? What's this here? So here's your streamlined and blended attack. So like I said, when you build your character, if you're not going 100% custom, here's the examples here. And I'm not sure if they showed it to you guys yet. I'll give you a glimpse of the flowchart for creating your own attacks. So let's basic attack. Your basic attack
My
is,
favorite one of all of these has to be either between Fathom Beam or Glowing Lure, just because
where's glowing
one,
lure?
it's at the
Glowing
top on the right.
glowing lure.
Glowing Lure.
Lure.
And I kind of like it because it's like they're really going into the good deep sea things that the creatures of the deeper part of the ocean, like glowing lure, that's basically just, the fish that tries to eat Nemo's dad does. You know, you
Yeah, just
lure your prey with your
drop the little light. Yeah,
bioluminescence. But I do also think Fathom Beam is really cool because it's by concentrating your active echolocation, you can emit a light and a deadly beam of sound which ruptures flesh on contact. So
that's
it's
the
like
fathom beam.
Yes. So
There's
I think that's kind of cool because echolocation, the idea is, projecting outward, the idea that you could streamline it to just blow someone. It's so anime. I love it.
No, it is very, very. I agree. So it's funny, Stephen Noel. I'm sorry, I'm not sure if I'm saying it right. He said he's like echoes feel a bit typecasted for esoteric Order of the Dagon campaigns, and it's funny. I was just talking to as we know, or as I mentioned, Eliza, we don't want to know how old you were when CthulhuTech first came out. Very young, but it was one of the ones that came in the second book, and I was just even mentioning to her that yeah, this is very much it's the water form. That being said, it still does have pretty cool abilities outside of the water.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are smart and your GM's smart and you decide to play an echo, you will find a way to make the water work. Like you
Yeah.
will find a way, especially in arcology. There's got to be piping and there's got to be water everywhere. Just because you can't see it. So anyway, let's move on. Let's move on to the. Oh,
Do we have any questions yet?
yeah, guys, if you have questions, drop them in there. Worst case, if we can't answer them to them, like I said, we have Op from Wildfire joining us here. The
Well,
last.
I would like to jump to my favorite.
Well, hold on here, real quick. No, let's jump to your favorite. Let's jump to your. Let's just do that because if worst case everybody likes it and we end up doing this again, because it's really just us chatting, giving peeks of the book. Where are we going? You got to tell me the page though, because we are on to.
I'm trying to scroll, but my finger can only go so fast on the mouse.
Anglerfish,
There we
yes.
go. Spectre, page 366.
Oh, the goth one. Gotcha.
But listen. It's a tie. I love the Spectre, but I also love my Fae princess. And it's a tie.
Oh, we're going to the Spectre. Yeah, the Spectre. Okay, I was thinking of the Shadow. Got too many S's.
No. Yeah, Spectre and Shadow. Those two are kind of my tie of who I would want to play. More for probably aesthetic reasons than anything else.
The Shadow. Here we go, guys. All right, let's check this out. As we pointed out in our short, if you haven't seen that short, go check it out. Look. Yes, look. Those are goth boots. I'm not sure if anyone's noticed that before now.
It's also very 80s. We have the shoulder pads. Like, it's giving very Terry Mugler 1987.
So Steven's got a good question. And I'm going to go ahead and jump on that real quick. Yes. So Steven says, is there any sort of gaining new powers or evolving powers? So the answer is you can select your own powers. I have yet to get into the GM's guide and get far enough to see if, like, after character creation.
I think I saw Intercross, second in-star Intercross form.
So you're talking about gaining additional bleed power. So I guess, gotcha. Steven, the answer is I think the answer is yes. I'm not going to swear on my life, but you can definitely. Oh, here's Op in here. Yes, you get additional powers as you play. You can also build. Like, I mean, there is. I said I'd show you the flow chart. We will show you the flow chart after Eliza goes on about these awesome boots. Go ahead, Eliza. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. It's just we got a question. We said, like, hey, if you got questions.
We got to feed the fans.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I immediately love the Spectre. It is giving so fashion. It's like it's Deborah from The Office if she became awesome in 1986.
Yeah,
and I am like
those shoulder pads. Those
shoulder pads. It's also like it looks like armor, like a helmet, just like it's everything. It's thigh-high boots and knee-high boots and heels all at the same time.
Yeah, geez.
And the color is just amazing. And also it looks like gloves with claws, which I love. We love.
So I remember
it's a goth drag queen, and I'm here for it. I love her.
My favorite thing about this, so in first edition, we used to call it. So they have an ability. They they expel out of these little. Here, I'm going to zoom in. It says that definitely in the first edition book. As we zoom in, like these little holes right here, from what I understand, like they open up and it exudes this like noxious gas. The big thing in first edition was like it
Ooh.
ignored your armor. So it didn't do a lot of damage. So we had a player who played a Spectre. He didn't really get to shine, but they won so many fights because of him. We called it the Fart of Doom. Because like they were fighting a dude in like a wasn't a full mech, it was powered armor. They couldn't hurt the dude in the power armor except for the Spectre because it wasn't a sealed system and he just killed the pilot. They didn't damage the mech at all, but the pilot was dead. Let's get going here.
Yeah, the reason it's goth, I think, has to be it's the way that they described it is so great. You're attracted to ghostly things and death. You know, in your Tager form, you can phase through solid objects. Like you literally just become a ghost. You can
Mhm.
create and hide clouds of mist. Talk about eerie fog. Rip your enemies apart from the inside. That sounds fabulous. Very efficient for murder. And then in your mortal form, you may gift the ability to grant a peaceful death. See, you're not a monster all the time. Sometimes you're nice, and you can age yourself up and down. Vampires, right there.
Gotcha. We've got the
It's great.
phasing. And we just talked, yeah, you just talked about the phasing.
Mm-hmm.
Here's some of their symbiote bleed abilities. We've got ghostly. So this is bleed. So this means you can do it in your human form. Ghostly, you can phase a small part of your body, such as your hand or forearm, foot or shin, through an inorganic object. So you can reach the wall and grab something. That's cool.
That just sounds so nice. Like, when you go somewhere and you accidentally leave something and you have to get up.
Oh, gotcha.
If the
You know,
wall's right there, you could just.
I like our, I like how we're taking all of these like murderous powers from beyond time and space. Like, oh god, that would help my life so much. Can you imagine? All right,
You know
so
how helpful these things would be at large family events if you could just puff of smoke and disappear? It's great.
all
It's
right, so
great.
here we go. So we're talking about attacks. I see some people in the chat talking about builds and customization are huge for you in any game.
Mm-hmm.
I just got to see what you guys can see. So here's the attacks. Let's go ahead. Let's zoom in here for a second. Show these guys some of this here. Let's get a little closer. All right, so I'm on the sustain part. So let's take a look at Death Shroud here. Now where's the Fart of Doom? Here it is, the Fart of Doom, or as it's more officially called, the Grave Wind. Vents on your body open. You emit a gray fetish, no fetid, oh god, foul smelling mist to cloud the site which you hide. So the effects, it's AoE 5, disorient 2, plus duration 3, blended charges. So if you're using the kind of not standard just dice roll rules, that's how much it costs to do. But we talked about, let me back.
There's also Ill Wind. Which is when you emit a brownish foul mist, but it's not.
There you
that is
go.
not intended
That's
to
it.
conceal, but rather to choke those caught within. So I think Gravewind
Is the vanish,
to
yeah.
hide you, and Illwind is when you intend to end someone.
Ooh, and I'm not sure if you guys can see it. Let me move over a tiny bit. You can only see it a tiny bit. You see it's there. It says, I guess on my right, the one closer, for if you're watching, the closer on to Eliza, says the ill wind allows you to weaken enemies around you. This may not be used as part of a strike back. So it seems like they got little. They've got little notes here.
Hoarfrost, which was that originally there. It's where you discharge intensely cold frost, which freezes your enemy to the point of frostbite.
I don't remember that as like back in first edition.
So really dynamic. There's a lot of different ways you could attack with this, which is another reason it's one of my favorites. It makes you extremely versatile, extremely useful to a party. You could use it for a lot of things. Death Shroud's also cool. It's the energy of death filling the air around you, and you tear out chunks of your enemy's flesh while they're eroding if they get too close. Lots of things. It's really cool.
They call it the signature attack now, but it used to be the limit break. So it was like your big once a day attack. Here it is. So streamlined and blended, which is kind of not make it as you go. Now I got to sit here, make sure everybody can see it. Cool. All right. You have a signature attack called Phase Rip, presented below, unique to Spectres. You may use this once per 24 hours at no cost in the blended system. But dynamic, you may craft your signature attack using 15 charges, ignoring the usual 10 charge limit for a signal attack. So here's phase rip. Phase into you materialize. So you just immaterial, go through someone, materialize, rip them apart. Damage 12, damage aura 4, and it's a slow route. Not sure what that is yet, guys. Like I said, I haven't read it all. Maybe if we do an actual play of this, I'll be forced to like actually know how to run this game before it comes out. All right, here it is. So, not sure if we got to really look at this here. This is these are your building attacks here. All right, so initiate. I think you guys, it's on the video. I think they show it on the video. But here's how you build your attacks. You kind of go through. I think it's a little overwhelming at first. I think if you're playing this game, you should absolutely go with streamlined or blended at first, and then when everyone at the table's got the hang of it, then maybe go dynamic. I think day one is going to be way too much to do. I mean, just look at this: initiate class attack, choose core attack, add the options, finalize, make the roll. Like, I mean, it's like it's all on one page, but okay. I just feel like it's a little much here.
I feel like if this is a new system, because a lot of people I know right now are moving away from games they've been playing for a long time. We're seeing a big shift of people leaving and trying new systems out. I think if you're new to the system, just like Jonathan said, go with what's already there. But after a while, you could really make this your own. But in their defense, when you do make it your own, I do like that there are steps with numbers. 1, 2.
Yeah, exactly. So here's the vampire.
I appreciate that. The ADHD in me likes the number steps.
So you would think us here at Gamers and Goths, we would absolutely love the vampire. I do like the vampire. But I want to jump down to where we were talking about earlier, the Whisper. The Whisper was one, I don't think I had anybody play it, anything outside of a one-shot. Because it wasn't very tough. Here it is.
So the Whisper is the other one I would have to choose between. And between Spectre and Whisper, my reason for Spectre is like it's goth, it's aesthetic, it's Mugler, it's fashion. Whisper though, it's like it's fae. You could really like lean into that.
That is true. This really looks
like Death Fairy, and I am just like, I love it.
Well, okay, I zoomed in a little too much there. Whoa. All right, let's back it up. So what I like, if those who haven't seen what was it, The Color of Space. Remember The Color of Space? We watched that? And it had like the Cthulhu insect that was getting changed by the color. That's what this looks like. It looks like, I mean, this definitely does have a Cthulhu fairy feel to it.
Lovecraft had to design a fairy.
Yeah.
You know, it's very fae, and like not every fae is very like Tinkerbell. You know, some of it's extremely dark and twisted creatures, and I kind of love that this is beautiful. It's still alluring. It's still got that like it's still very pretty. It's luminescent, but it's like it could kill me, and I kind of think that's
well, cool. You know what? To go further with the fae and things like that are usually things that help you, but there's always a catch. Whisper candidates. Let me jump down here to whisper candidates. I'm gonna zoom over. One of them here is like the volunteer worker who helps take care of orphan children. This is why I said it was you, the quirky aunt who coordinates family gatherings of 20 plus people.
Not anymore.
Yeah, well, that's
the writer who's a middle child. Oh no! They made this for you, for all you middle children. We see you.
Well, actually, that's the thing. The Whisper sees everything. Like that's one of the coolest things. Like I had a player play a Whisper. I think it was on our one shot or two shot. I think we played it like two game nights at my place. Like because every Tager's mind linked. Man, it was so cool. Like yeah, I just sit on top. I tell everyone where it is, and then if things get bad, because it typically in first edition wasn't that potent hitter, but they could drop the Glossamer bombs. So you could just fly around, kind of just weaken some guys while your Phantom or your Nightmare came in there and really finished them off. Or, as the Spectre dropped the Fart of Doom.
I love this last Whisper candidate, the street preacher who offers faith to their flock.
There you go.
I could do a lot with that, but then it would turn into a cult game.
I mean, but, if there's anything else to have here. All right, let's go ahead here. Let's look at, we're talking about who we're going to play here.
It's also kind of cool. It's an environmental chameleon. So, whispers are unusual in that their personality and reactions are heavily influenced by their physical environment. They take on the essence of the place they are at and amplify it. So, in a chaotic environment, they become wild, while they're pleasantly reserved in a positive environment. And they could be equally happy in both. So, I kind of like that you could play a whisper multiple times, completely different ways, or that you could start your whisper and as they have to become accustomed to that environment they change over the game. I think that would be really interesting to play and a really cool story to tell.
Yeah. See here, Elder Society, whispers are most comfortable as part of a team, never proud or having difficulty with direction or delegation. While many work in packs, there are pairs who are tasked solely with long-term surveillance of any key chrysalis targets and locations. Whispers are spotters, leaving interpretation and coordination. Am I reading that right? Interpretation and decision making to those better big picture thinking. Like I said, very good.
So they're INFJs. Got it.
I don't know what that means, but yeah, they're the eyes in the sky. Um, they do have. Let's take a look here. See now, this is something I tell you, it takes some homework on our part, but like comparing their power level compared to old ones here. Let's take a look at their special ability here. All right, special ability. You have insect, panoptic.
Insectile wings.
Yeah, and sensory node. Which one do you get for?
That's
Let's.
nice.
Oh, sorry, my computer's like, you got a lot of tabs open. Oh my god. Let's see here. Let's zoom in here. 255. Let's go. Boom.
Eavesdropping, of course. Parkour.
Yeah, well, that's hold on. We're not there yet. We're not there yet.
I
So
am empath. See, I was right. They are
we're not.
INFJs.
We're not there yet. Hold on. We're looking at these abilities here. So Panop, you have access to the full spectrum of Tager senses, and you can use them at longer ranges. Oh, that's cool. Sensory
cool.
node, you can funnel sensory input into any willing Tager within 30. Oh my god. So yeah. That's
great.
all. Yeah, so you can give the boss like, "Oh, what does it look like? Show me what it looks like." That's freaking amazing. Oh my god. Like that yes, that is such a tactical ability right there. Like everyone knows cuz I think they used to have like thermal vision, you could see through wall, like they have all the cool powers. You also have clear sight, and we'll see that hopefully here in a second. So you can see things that are cloaked and stuff. So then you there you go. You can see the cloaked monster. You can't fight it because you're a whisper, you're a fairy, you can't do all that. But you transfer it over to your vampire or your nightmare friend who are just made of murder and be like, oh, by the way, I see this guy. I'm going to send you my senses. So yeah.
Shout out to CthulhuTech for also adding in here that a Tager must consent for you to do this and may refuse entry or expel you from their mind at any time. We love to see clear safety mechanics. Thank you.
I'm not sure if that's it or if they just don't want you to do it to an enemy Tager or something like that. Now I can't see.
Both.
Oh god.
Both is good.
So the bleed abilities, guys, again, those are the ones you get in your human form. So with the streamlined, which is i.e. you're not if streamlined is you're handed your abilities, like it's just a template, write it down on your sheet. You start with empathy. So as with blended dynamic. Empath, yeah, thank you. But if blended dynamic, you get to choose one of them. And you can acquire for fee. You may spend your initial 2 advances to acquire an additional bleed at 2 costs. So there you go. That goes back to answering your question, Stephen. Yes, you can totally upgrade stuff right there.
Yeah. And then since you'll start with empath, if you're playing streamlined, it is 1, 2, 3, 4th down on the left.
Gotcha.
On the next page. You are attuned to the emotions of others. When you meet an NPC, you can ask your GM what mood they're in, and they must answer you truthfully unless the character is mystically protected in some way. That's cool.
Yeah. What else do you got
like
here?
That.
Drop, even with your range, you're capable. Okay, so you can drop down. You don't take fall damage. Makes sense.
You can talk your way out of it. Nice.
Let's take a look here at. I want to see. Let's look at some of their attacks here. We got our Glossamer bombs here. There you go. Big deal. Like that was kind of like, I remember, now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, I remember Whispers just flying over and just dropping bombs. AoE 7, you discharge an energy ball explodes into bursts of bright light. We have Glossamer Storm.
It's Gossamer.
Gossamer, excuse me, fire class. Yeah. So this is the long distance attack. So this is your sniper attack. Cool. This is your AoE attack. All right. All right.
It also makes you harder to hit. You have strike, which means you quickly fly past an enemy while raking them with your claws,
Which
which makes you harder to hit.
strike. Yeah, there it is. There it is.
So that's nice. Like in
And that's right.
combat,
They even have the notes there too, guys. That's right. As I'm sitting here, like, oh, what's this good for? It says it right here on the
yes, on the
left. Yeah.
sides and on the
So
right, yes.
yeah. So like is harm. So Gossamer Storm. The Gossamer Storm harms a group of enemies at once at a distance. Gossamer bombs maybe deafen enemies in a large radius. So like I like that right there because I'll tell you right now, as we're sitting here, I'm sitting here looking at this. Like I gave this a solid, quick read about a week ago, enough to be like, okay, all right, okay. You know, I've already read it before, but what I like here is the numbers are different. Like when you pick up a new RPG, you don't always know what you're doing. And I like these little notes here because now I'm like, oh, okay. When you're picking your abilities, you just read that here.
It does have a lot of little side like things next to stuff that do help you, especially if you're still newer to GMing and gaming. Making a game can feel so overwhelming, and finding
Mm-hmm.
the info, all these little things on the side that say like, "Oh, this can't be used as a strike attack, but this can be," or "Oh, this is specifically for increasing your armor." Like claws right here. Claws allow you to strike an enemy while increasing your armor. Like that's all super helpful and very player and GM friendly. So again,
Check out the signature attack
highlights.
here. Razor Wing. So this is obviously you're not building it. This is just what they got you here. You erupt into a burst of flight, which confounds nearby enemies. Your armor hardening
Hardening.
as you slash your enemies with your wings and you fly past. Razor Wing is often used as an escape move when whispers find themselves in the wrong place. So our little small text here. Razor Wing allows you to increase your armor while running or flying at the enemy, setting yourself up to defend.
That's great because if the whole idea is that like if you wanted to play this as a scout, you would really want
Yeah, you.
yours escaping to
Yeah,
return and give the info.
yeah, and also get somebody on your way out here too.
Mm-hmm.
There's the build. So continuing our insect thing, looking at the time here, let's just take a minute or two here to look at one of my favorites. I have arachnophobia, I really do, but I love any spider monster here. It should be noted these eldritch beings, so you don't have to fit typical candidate. So you don't have to fit the typical candidate. Yeah, no, exactly. It's kind of what CivDev34 is talking about. Like, so when you go through the right, like you don't necessarily have to follow the book, and the book says, well, it typically does that. No, you can be the weirdo because these are creatures from beyond time and space. They don't make sense. And I think personally that's a fun role play thing. It's like, all right, I'm the small, tiny, demure character who wouldn't dare, but now my symbiote is a nightmare, which is kind of it's the brick. I mean, not that they're all not tough, but it's one of the tough ones. What does that do and change to me? So yeah, no, and it's that they as any role playing game likes, they kind of give you ideas and some. And I just had a short about this. Sometime playing into types and tropes is good, and then there's sometimes to not do it. But let's take a look at this widow here. I like the widow because I like a lot of these monsters, with the exception of the Efreet, which is funny. I was just talking to Op about how I don't like the Efreet, and he's like, "How do you not like it?" I'm like, I say that to everyone, and everyone always responds, "How do you not like that?" Just know that's not my favorite, but this one here, one of the reasons, like, I don't want to touch this thing. Ew, it's gross. Um, it's a spider from beyond time and space. Yes, love it here. Let's check out here. Let's look at the symbiote. See what the symbiote stuff says here. Oh, I gotta remember it's
I
400%.
do like that for headspace for widows specifically, because
Mm-hmm.
obviously every single one of them affects your behavior, but it made a point here to say that this specific one has a profound influence, and these will become a part of it. And it gives you, like, I mean, it's all of them, but some of the ones on here I think are a little more interesting than the others. Like, you're
You're
easy to
easy to
be
be around.
around,
Yeah,
even though you're this horridly
terrifying.
terrifying thing.
God, that's I didn't even think about it. Like, yeah, suddenly I'm just everybody's friend. I'm everybody's
Yeah.
friend here.
Hi,
All right.
guy. Enough arms to hug.
Yeah,
All the friends.
I love that. Yes, yes. Enough arms to hug. That's how you. There you go. I am the friendly symbiote. I have more arms to hug everyone. Yes.
And yes.
Mhm. I can tuck you in with my spinneret. All right, let's take a look here, huh? So, widow symbiotes come from a universe of fluidic space, dwelling in a giant coral-like structures. Despite their formidable defensive abilities, they are prey to other terrifying creatures in their world. Oh, see, I love it. Now, this is the prey creature. It's not, their world. Theirs is a world of patient waiting and careful action, striking without mercy while always watching for danger. In the wild, when widow symbiotes are used to working in large communities. So it's like, yeah, it's so we see it as a spider, but it's actually not. It's like an ant. This is a significant disconnect for widows who manifest here alone and perhaps for the first time. For this reason, most hosts default to a set routine when not working with others, perhaps a little unsure about what to do with themselves. And I like that. Now that makes sense. Like, oh yeah, I'm friendly to because I'm used to being around me and my millions of brothers. So hey guys, let's who's hungry? Let's go get something here.
Yeah.
Elders decide widows are highly collaborative, community oriented, making them valued in any pack or position. Their natural talents are useful to set ambushes, capture targets alive. Duties common enough to them, but because they're skittish and reactive, widows are not often chosen for direct leadership positions. They're often as secondary leaders on the team. And it says in
So
our
all
little
I
note right
heard
here
is in game, like they're the glue. They're that friend that once they
with
go,
their
everyone falls
they're the
apart.
glue with their webbing. There you go. I
Yeah,
like it.
like everyone's like, we have to save Jeff because without Jeff, we all will fall apart. He's what keeps this group together.
No, I like it here. All right. So guys, we could sit here and go on and on about this, but we have and I've got it now that I'm sitting here saying this. Hopefully Op is back and I've got to find where I have too many tabs over there. I see he's giving me
Yeah.
thumbs up. So
Now,
we're gonna
real quick, does anyone have questions that we can answer very quickly?
yeah, well also we'll have Op here too. Um
True.
if you want us to maybe do this again in the future, go
A
ahead.
little longer on a night we don't work.
Yeah, well, that'll be tough to find, but it's the book comes. We got some time before the book comes out before you guys are going to see it. Um, so if you're wanting us to look at some other stuff, why don't you go ahead, leave them, swing by our Discord, say hey, keep doing that, or you can head over to the Wildfire Discord, talk about things like that because we're always looking to make content, especially about games that we like. And it sounds terrible to say like there's games out there. There are games out there that are not necessarily my favorite, but if I bought it, there was something about it that I got, and uh, I have a huge collections of books. So we'll go ahead. Not really see anything from anyone, so let's go ahead. We're gonna bring in Op over here. This is your chance. We're gonna ask some questions. You can ask questions. We're gonna just talk about this. Just take the last 10 minutes and just kind of chat. So then we're going to bring Op out. Op, I'm just warning you in case you, because I have so many things on my screen. So if you got to get decent here, you got 5, 4, 3, 2. Here we go. We've got our nice little pan, and here we are. Op, you're a little bit off kilter. You might want to move over a little bit. There we go. All right, cool.
There.
Yeah.
Thank you for hopping
Hello.
on with us.
Hey, thanks for having me on. I've caught part of your stream, but mostly I was feeding popcorn to children.
I mean,
Um,
that sounds like a very fatherly thing to do right there. I love me some popcorn, so yeah.
It's a
uh,
favorite in this house. We respect it greatly.
Oh my god, dude, yeah.
so I did catch one thing, and I have some exciting news about your CthulhuTech Baywatch dreams.
Okay.
Is in the core rulebook, if you jump to PDF page 254, you will
Okay.
see we cover the location of Nazaduni, the Nazadi capital, which is actually an artificial Caribbean island they made from
Yes.
landing their spaceships on Earth. And it is one of the few safe beaches left in the entire planet Earth. It is guarded by smart mines and turrets, but you can go swimming.
Gotcha.
See, this sounds great. Your lifeguards and everyone is like, I love the idea that it's not weird, and then something goes horribly wrong. Like, oh yeah, that's our lifeguard, and he turns into that to save you. Like, that swimming towards you in the ocean's not frightening, and then one day it is. Like, I love this plan.
Uh, to ask to answer the question for the person who wanted to know about customization, there are customization options out the wazoo. Instead of doing like a strict leveling tiered system, instead it is a at the highest degree of customization is an a la carte point purchase system. So sometimes you have to purchase a precursor to unlock the next one, but the you accumulate power advances as you level. You spend them to get more bleeds, more attacks, all that fun stuff, and or also to evolve them and make them stronger. And then your instars, to answer your question, is once you've accumulated a certain number of power advances, you get the instar upgrades automatically.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of this. Like I said, I was talking to a friend of mine, and not to compare you guys to another RPG, but I found like this was, it had a similar play loop to Werewolf the Apocalypse. Like, it's like we're a pack. We've got a lot in common. We're doing everything together. We're fighting an evil corporation. So it was very easy for me to convince my friends who had been playing other games, because I was definitely the guy that always brought, hey, so I bought this weird game. Why'd you buy it? The cover looked cool. So here we go. And I think, unlike everybody else, like, the cover looked cool, and I actually read it. So I've always had big fan of this. We played it for a year, and I think I mentioned to you, we could not say Doanoids. We didn't know if we were saying it right. So Doanoids, by the way, for those that are watching, those are the villains. There's Tagers and Doanoids. But the way it's written, I guess if you'd never seen the show Guyver, we had no idea. So we shortened it to call them D-bags. They were D-bags. So that was our code name for them. It was like, okay, because you can psychically communicate. Got a couple of D-bags across the street. They're moving down through the alley. Like, that was just our code name for them.
Believe it or not, you are not the only person to be like, so how do you say all of these words? And in V2, and I actually wrote this chapter, we have an index and a glossary, and it has a pronunciation guide.
That's always good.
Fabulous, because I need to ask you, is it Tager or Tager?
It is Tager with a hard
I always say Tager. I knew I was wrong.
Tager,
I just
like Tigger.
Like Tigger, yeah. I spent like 5-6 years running like I said, I ran a whole campaign, and it was we said Tager, but you know,
right. I've heard it all. Tager, Tagger, Tager.
There's no
Tager. It's not Target. It's Target. It's not a Tager. It's a Tager. Tager. I love it.
To answer your one last little bit on the attacks, it was for anyone who's curious, and all those terms describing, it's all a keyword system. So all of the attacks in the system, guns, Tagers, monsters, everybody, all uses a unified set of rules called aspects, and they all work the same, and they plug together to create the attacks. So you don't have to learn a million custom rules for GMing and all that stuff. It's every AoE 6 is the same AoE 6. Every Disorient 2 is the same Disorient 2.
Reminds me of
sorry, what's that?
It reminds me of Mutants and Masterminds. As in, it had a lot of, like, if you ever learned Mutants and Masterminds and you broke it down, all the powers were these tiny little parts, and that's how it worked. But at first, it was just too complicated to learn, so they skipped it for like 3 books.
Yeah, we and that's why we opted to do the graduated play, where you can just like, hey, I don't want to know how this works, just do it for me.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you're like, okay, we've cracked open the hood, here's all the bits.
No, that's good. I think
this one here, that's what I like to hear from games.
Something that will also be heartening is you can upgrade your character. So let's say you start playing with fundamental rules and streamlined Tagers, and now you're confident and you want to upgrade. You don't have to rebuild your character.
That's good.
It's the same character sheet. You just use you basically use a couple more pieces of it. But they've always been there. You just didn't need to worry about them. And the
Yeah.
same thing for your character. You just stop using the pre-made attacks, spend your charges to make your custom attacks, and start modifying your character. So we wanted to give you that flexibility to start simple.
That's great. Now, I have a question for you, which
See.
is your favorite taker?
All right. Okay. So we're gonna have some harmony and disharmony. My two favorite takers are the Widow and the new Ifrit.
Yeah. So, like I said,
So,
everyone looks at me like I'm crazy when I say that. Like, how
all
can
right.
you
Now
not like that?
I'll admit that the V1 Ifrit could have had some more dimension to it, but we did some really cool stuff with the lore of the V2 Ifrit. It's not just a fire elemental.
Gotcha. There you go. Like it.
You're really actually you're what if a so for all of these we had like kind of taglines we coalesced around to spitball the discussions, and the one for the Ifrit is, what if a sun was a motivational speaker?
Gotcha. Okay.
You
All right.
you're a stellar body and you just want everyone to be their very best selves.
Yes.
And you're amazing because you're literally sunlight incarnate.
Yes. Everyone must orbit around me. You do.
Well, it's
Careful.
not must, they do.
Exactly. Do they control gravity? I'm curious. Now. See, now I gotta look
So
it up.
they're not, we gave that to the Phantom. The
Okay, gotcha.
Phantom is, what if a black hole loved you?
Gotcha.
Like,
Okay.
deeply loved and cared about you. Phantoms in their home dimension are they build gardens orbiting their a creation ring, and they tend to the creatures that live there, and they deeply, deeply love them. But also you can't leave because it is a black hole. But it's okay, they love you.
That's I
I
like.
love that.
My favorite thing about this is in really any game, they're usually character dives for me in some way, and I like how, like, what is it like? We I think we were chatting when we were putting up another video together or something. You were like, we referenced like it's me and my extra dimensional best friend. But I like this idea that you don't necessarily know what your extra dimensional best friend wants, or you don't. This is just your interpretation of it, and it's also to jump further later, the angles and things like that, how you commune with it. To me, I've always wanted to run a game that is essentially Gundam Wing, but your angle pilots and like the kind of the because it's always in the animes, there's always this big melodrama, and the big melodrama is dealing with the fact that you commune with this terrible monster from beyond time and space. How has it changed me? But and in Gundam Wing, we're all way too young to actually be doing this, but we're in a terrible war, so strap in, teenager. Let's go save the universe.
For everyone, I know lots of people were hoping we'd do a kitchen sink release like we did for V1, and that was one of the earlier drafts. We were trying to cram everything into one book, but doing just Tagers was 600 pages. So
Yeah.
we
Well,
had to
sometimes
split them up
you
because
gotta.
we didn't want to just do a shallow dive on everything and then you make people buy 5 books to get the full class.
Yeah.
So
It's 6 one, half dozen of another, because I've definitely been in games where it's like I really wish you just gave me the generic stuff. But I guess that in my always thing is like, as long as I'm not buying the same rule book, like don't tell me how to do the dice rules the same time and eat up 300 page count. That was always kind of my big thing. But you're also not Fantasy Flight selling me the same Warhammer 40K roleplay 6 times. Like,
oh man, if only we could make money like Fantasy
yeah,
Flight.
yeah, exactly. I liked it. I'm like, oh, I like how we're focusing on different genres, but half of this book is the same frickin' dice rules. So, but that's also too. If that's something people were worried about, like, and if you guys were making that kind of money, that's something you could probably put online. Like, oh, here's the zine. Here's the rules. Pick up the thing. And but I don't know. What do I know? I don't write. I don't publish games, so I'm always like, I have this idea. I have no idea how it works, though. That's probably not how anything works, but that's.
And then I'm actually going to pass along to one of the other designers that you guys liked the sidebars. He is captain of Team Sidebar.
Yeah, I will say it definitely does as I'm sitting here because, and it's funny, I saw it before, but as I'm sitting here kind of like live on camera, like, oh God, I got to pretend like I know what I'm doing. And I mean, I've read this thing, but I not really run it. And then I'm like, oh my God, this makes it so much easier because I'm like, all right, I know what AoE means, but what is AoE 5 compared to AoE 1? Like, what is the mental difference? So it's nice, these little sidebars, especially if you're first picking it up. I've been gaming for a long time. Eliza's very new. So one of the things we like to talk about is at what point I can understand it, but what point does she understand it? In the inverse, a lot of these newer, more narrative mechanics, especially if I'm not used to it, at what point in time I'm like, well, what's initiative? Tell me the initiative roll. And, that new stuff kind of goes away from it. So those sidebars really just make it easy to, you don't need to know the dice rolls as you're playing through it. You're just going like, all right, I sat down, the GM gave me a book, pick a power.
I'm gonna give a funny analogy because to me, I'm like, I have one of these mothers. It's kind of like when you're talking and you're like, the thing, and then your mom answers for you, and you're like, yes, thank you. They clarify it in terms everyone can understand. It feels like a gentle parent being like, it's this, and I like that.
So, some good news for anyone who is feeling daunted about learning the rules. All of the aspects are done as keyword and then 100% of the numbers you need to know. So, AoE, if you go to the aspect, it tells you we're making squares. And the number that comes after is how many squares you count out from the center to make a box.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay.
an AoE 1 is a 3x3 cube, and an AoE 5 is an 11x11 cube.
Gotcha.
And for example, evade 1 is you evade attacks from 1 enemy. Evade 3 is you evade attacks from 3 enemies.
Okay, all right.
And that sort of thing. So we wanted it to be, once you understood what your keywords meant, you didn't have to cross-reference or do any math in order to execute the attack.
We love to hear games say you don't have to do any math.
I
love hearing games say you don't have to do any math.
All right, guys. Hey, let's go ahead. If you're in there, I'm watching even the Discord, things like that. We're going to give you guys another minute or two. Drop any last minute comments, questions you have for Op before we all have to go and work and try to pay our bills. If you like this stuff, go ahead, give us a like, comment, and all that business. Head over to their Discord. I will find a place to drop my Discord because I keep trying to copy it, but it keeps trying to paste of hidden, press copy. I'm like, I did press copy. Why are you not letting me share this? So that's okay. We've been musing over here at Gamers and Goths, potentially maybe trying to do some sort of actual play in regards to this, which I've been talking about for years. But, so if that's something you're interested too, you want to see some, more CthulhuTech stuff, leave that in the comments. If you don't want to see more CthulhuTech stuff, I guess you can leave that too. Anyone got anything here? I did see a nice comment on the CthulhuTech Discord. Like, having seen the Twitch stream, I love the Taj, the T-A apostrophe G-E. We just got him. As one, the Tajay, one gets a sense they're very much inverted cosmic horror, more cosmic wonder. They're not friendly, but they're neither either. They're just terrifyingly subliminal of the multiverse. Like how the Widow is a ruthless hunter, and our best friends you could ever make, as they are communal hive dweller. Yeah, no, that's always the thing. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm really glad to hear that. One of the big things that we spent, literally almost a year on, like we would spend like 2 weeks minimum per taker, and then we do a review session, go back, was we didn't want any of the takers to be so devoid of nuance that you could fully summarize them in just one sentence.
Gotcha.
They're supposed to be unknowable eldritch beings, which means it should be hard to know them, to describe them.
Yeah, no.
And so just saying, yeah, this is the bug one, this is the flying one, this is the punchy one. That's just, it didn't support the narrative that these are truly bizarre monsters from realms you can't understand. Like, you guys didn't touch on it too much for the Spectre, but the Spectre is a chunk of a dead god trying to understand its own death.
See, Goths.
Yeah,
so
I love it.
It's so
there you go. See, we missed that. when we were doing that video, we were sitting there going, like, as we were prepping it, like,
I
okay.
got distracted by the boots.
Yeah, we're like, oh my God, those are goth boots. Oh, we got to say that in the video. We got to say that. And then even someone in your Discord even mentioned, was like, oh my God, I didn't notice they have goth boots until you pointed it out. I'm like, neither did we. We were like, all right, we need a video. Okay, let's do a video. But, we do this in between. Like, I have 4 jobs and all that.
Oh,
So
my
we're trying.
goodness.
Oh, yeah. Like, I've got a bunch of, we're doing our
Work
best
a
here.
lot.
Yeah, this is one of my other jobs. So in defense, but we're like doing it like, okay, we need something to try to get out 30 seconds. Let's read it, toss ideas. And then that came up like, oh my God, look at those. Are those goth boots? I'm like, oh my God, they are goth boots. Oh my God. So, all right, guys, I think I haven't heard any questions. We're going to go ahead and jump on out. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for
having me.
Yeah, thank you for sending us the review copy. We will keep looking through it. And if audience or Wildfire wants us to do more things, let us know. We're always looking for content. Everyone, thank you for coming to G&G, the place to be for everything that's not
D&D. Don't forget to go follow, like, and subscribe on all of our socials so that you are the first to know about everything that we post, including CthulhuTech. So if you're like, I need to know more, you got to go follow us so we can give you what you want.
All right, guys, take care. And I'm going to go ahead and mute you guys. And then I'll mute me and send us out to the leaving screen. Take care, everyone.